So good evening, everyone. I'm Keiko Yasukawa. I'm the program coordinator for the TESOL and Applied Linguistics program here at UTS. Before I begin the webinar or the information that I'm going to present, I'd like to begin by acknowledging that I'm joining this webinar from the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. They are the traditional custodians of this land that was never ceded, never will be. And I'd like to pay my respect to elders, past, present, and emerging. So welcome everyone to this postgraduate TESOL and Applied Linguistics program webinar. I'm going to take you through some information about the courses and also leave time for you to ask questions that might emerge for you. So I just want to let everyone know that this session will be recorded. So you might just want to read this page to make sure you're happy with how it's going to work. So I hope that's okay. And I'm going to move on to talk about why you might want to study TESOL and Applied Linguistics. Well, at UTS, you can study to become a teacher of English language to speakers of other languages. And for those of you who may not be familiar with the term applied linguistics covers a broad range of areas, but here we're talking about how language is used in different contexts. And so when we talk about TESOL and Applied Linguistics and what we're teaching in this course, we're teaching people who want to teach English language and also literacy and also numeracy. So literacy is how we use language in communication, typically in written form. So TESOL and Applied Linguistics is about developing teachers who will teach English language, literacy, and some of you may be teaching numeracy. Excuse me. And the UTS course allows you to tailor what you are learning for working in a range of different teaching contexts. Excuse me. So with the qualification, you might teach overseas or locally in Australia. You might teach English to adult migrants, or you might teach literacy and maybe numeracy to second chance learners in adult education contexts. Or if you are already a qualified primary or secondary school teacher, you can use this qualification to gain an additional specialist registration as an English language teacher, an EALD, English as an additional language or dialect teacher, and teach students who are learning English as an additional language in primary or secondary schools. Some of our graduates focus on teaching English for academic purposes. So they may be teaching in pathway courses, international students who need to pass the entrance English language exams. So supporting such students to pass the exam to get into, English speaking university courses or further education courses. Or you might be actually working in a university to support academic English development within a university, either in Australia or overseas. And the program is designed for two kinds of people. People who come from a completely different background. They might be engineers, they might be architects, they might be hairdressers, who want to make a whole career change to teach English as an additional language or literacy. But we also cater for teachers who are already in the field, who want to upgrade their qualification in order to advance their career. So we say that we tailor, the course is tailored for both what we call pre-service teachers, people with no teaching experience, but also for in-service teachers, teachers who are already working in the teaching profession. So I hope you can see that we're very flexible and you can tailor the program to suit your needs and interests. So one of the courses we offer is the master course, the Master of TESOL and Applied Linguistics. And this course consists of 12 subjects made up of 6 compulsory core subjects. And you also need to choose a specialist stream, which consists of 2 subjects. And you can choose up to 4 electives. I'll tell you a little bit more about the specialist stream a little bit later, but a full-time student can complete the course in 1.5 years. And in order to complete in 1.5 years, you'd have to take 4 subjects per semester. Part-time students should undertake 1 or 2 subjects a semester. And obviously, it will take longer for you to complete the course. But we find that many students who are, working part-time or full-time, or people who have family responsibilities, choose to study part-time. So, they have a reasonable work, study, and life balance. So, don't try to rush through the course. Choose an attendance pattern that suits your needs. Now, the specialist streams that are available are, first of all, teaching adult literacy and numeracy. So teaching English language, literacy, and numeracy to adults in Australian adult education colleges, like TAFE colleges, or one of the private colleges that teach English language, literacy, and or numeracy. The second stream is the EALD and literacy in schools, English as an additional language or dialect, and literacy in schools. So people who choose this stream are typically in-service school teachers. So they already have a school teaching qualification that's recognized in Australia or in their home country, and they are learning to teach EALD students, and they will get an additional specialism by choosing this stream. And the third stream is the English for academic purposes stream. So this is, very quickly, the master course. The second course is the graduate diploma in TESOL and Applied Linguistics. This consists of 8 subjects. And there are 5 compulsory core subjects. And again, you choose one of the specialist streams. If you study full-time, you can complete this course in 1 year. And part-time students would take longer by studying 1 or 2 subjects a semester. Excuse me. And the specialist streams you choose are from the 3 streams that I mentioned, from the masters. adult literacy and numeracy, EALD and literacy in schools, and English for academic purposes. Third course is the graduate certificate in TESOL and Applied Linguistics. This consists of only 4 subjects. And full-time students complete the course in 1 semester or half a year by studying 4 subjects per semester, and again, part-time students will take longer. Now, I've introduced you to the 3 courses we have, but they're not 3 totally separate courses, because the graduate certificate is nested in the graduate diploma, and the graduate diploma is nested in the master. This means that when you finish the graduate certificate, you do 4 more subjects to get the graduate diploma and another 4 subjects to get the master. So it's not like once you finish the graduate certificate, if you enroll in the graduate diploma, you have to study 8 brand new subjects altogether. No, you just have to pick up 4 more subjects for the grad dip and another 4 for the master. So what some students do is to start slow. I'll just do the graduate certificate and see how I go. And then they realize that, this is really interesting. They want to study some more. So then they, apply and do the graduate diploma, studying 4 more subjects. And if they're really still very interested and enthusiastic, they might then go into the master's and study 4 more subjects to get the master. Now, a lot of students know that they really want to get a master in TESOL and Applied Linguistics, so they'll go straight into the master and study the 12 subjects in sequence. So you can take it 1 step at a time, or you can go directly into the master. That's up to you. Now, let me tell you the kinds of jobs that graduates get. So people who choose the adult literacy and numeracy strand can go into teaching in adult English as a second language program, as I said, in places like TAFE colleges, private adult education colleges, community colleges. Sometimes they would do this in workplaces. Some students teach English language, literacy and numeracy in the prisons. So a range of areas where you can make an important contribution. Some of our graduates teach in what's called second chance adult education programs, teaching literacy and numeracy to adults who, for a number of different reasons, may not have completed school or may not have completed school successfully. Maybe they experienced a lot of illnesses while they were in school, or maybe their family moved around a lot, so they kept changing schools. And if any of you have had the experience of changing schools, that's not always a positive experience. They might have had some learning difficulties. Anyway, whatever the reason, Australian tertiary education system has a second chance education system. So many of our graduates do this second chance adult education teaching, often called foundation skills teaching, adult basic education, adult literacy and numeracy, a very rewarding kind of work to do. They might teach English, literacy and numeracy in workplaces. Another kind of work that's very important and common, and I think really exciting, that our graduates do in TAFE colleges is what's called teaching literacy and numeracy in vocational courses. So they might be working with a commercial cookery teacher. So the students in the commercial cookery course might be, studying pastries. But in order to do pastry, they need to know about measurements. They need to have some numeracy. So the literacy and numeracy teacher works with the pastry teacher to support these commercial cookery teachers. Or they might be helping students in animal grooming or plumbing or hairdressing, a whole range of different programs. One of our graduates is now the manager of what's called the Reading and Writing Hotline, which is a Commonwealth government-funded program. It's a national referral system for adult literacy learners. So many opportunities if you choose the adult literacy and numeracy stream. For graduates who have studied the EALD and literacy in school stream, they may be teaching EALD students in New South Wales primary and secondary schools, or they might be teaching in what's called intensive English centers. And these intensive English centers are places that newly arrived migrants and refugee students come and develop their English. So if they arrive with very little knowledge of English, they study in the intensive English center maybe for 6 months, sometimes 12 months, maybe sometimes a bit longer. So they're developing their English. They're also, keeping up with the school curriculum. So studying math, studying geography, studying history, whatever it is, but with a lot more English language support. So that's another really interesting and rewarding kind of work that our graduates do. Some of our students, especially international students, go home to their own country and teach English in primary or secondary schools. One of our graduates is leading the refugee support program for refugee students in New South Wales schools. So again, a range of opportunities for graduates from the EALD and literacy in schools strand. Now the academic English strand, well, our graduates are teaching academic English to international students preparing for tertiary study in Australia. Now, if you have studied in different countries, you'll know that the way classrooms are conducted are a little bit different in different places. So in some countries, like in Australia, we want students to participate, ask questions. We want them to have group discussions. And if you are teaching students who are from quite a different kind of learning culture, where that's not common, then we need to teach the students to feel comfortable about asking questions in a lecture or participating in group discussions, because that can seem really foreign to students. I studied in a university where putting my hand up to ask a question, even in a very small class, and I had the experience of putting my hand up in a class where there was only, I think, 6 students, and the professor looked completely stunned. And he said, "Is there a problem?" And I said, "Oh, I just have a question," because I genuinely had a question. I didn't understand what he was teaching me. And he said, "There shall be no questions in the lectures." End of story. So I had to find a way to sort it out myself. So different cultures, different learning practices, teaching and learning practices. And so part of academic English is teaching our students how to conduct themselves, how to learn in, for example, the Australian university environment. But it's also about the kinds of assessments that they need to negotiate. In some countries, all assessment is done by exams. And in Australian universities, there may be exams, but there may be group projects, essays, reports, practicals. So teaching these different kinds of texts that students have to produce, and supporting students to negotiate the reading demands of tertiary study. So some of our graduates support students who are preparing for tertiary study in Australia. Some of our international students are doing this overseas in their home countries. And some of our graduates are working in Australian universities like UTS, supporting university students with their essay writing, with their oral presentation skills, and so on. So lots of opportunities there as well. Now, let me see. So why study TESOL and Applied Linguistics at UTS? Well, you can get a degree here that's internationally recognized. The UTS TESOL and Applied Linguistics degree is highly regarded both within Australia and overseas. And your teachers are very experienced. They have a breadth of experience. Some of us have taught overseas. Some of us have been involved in academic English teaching at UTS. Some of us have experiences in literacy and numeracy in adult education work. Some of us have contributed our expertise in foreign aid work. So we have a lot of experience that we want to share with you. And I'm sure you will bring a lot of experience with you as well that we want to learn from. And our delivery modes are flexible. We have evening classes and blended learning mode, which includes supplementary online activities that are, ideal for business professionals. Now, of course, during COVID, we went completely online, but students have come back to campus this semester, and it's really lovely to see students on campus. But we've also had some students who are studying from Victoria or Griffith in country New South Wales. So being able to join other students through online connections has made it really easy for them and beneficial for us to be able to include them in the classroom. And one of the strong features of our program is that all of our courses, the grad cert, the grad dip, and the master, include supervised professional practice, or what we call teaching practicums, in schools or colleges, and we help you locate an appropriate college or school for you. So it gives you the opportunity to gain an authentic teaching experience in a real classroom. In the graduate certificate, there is one practicum subject. By the time you finish the grad dip or the master's, you will have had two practicum placements. And we find that many of our students are offered jobs at the end of their second practicum because they perform well in the practicum, and the college or the school can see, we would really benefit from having that UTS student work for us. So the second practicum in particular is a really important way to get your foot in the door, make a good impression so that people will come offering jobs to you. So 2 practicums is a real plus. Okay, and one thing that I want to mention is that the UTS program has been endorsed as a quality TESOL and Applied Linguistics teacher education provider by NEAS, N-E-A-S. NEAS is a quality assurance agency for the English language teaching profession, and they endorse, quality assure colleges and programs globally. So we've had the NIAS quality assurance officer come and audit our program very thoroughly, and we passed with flying colors. They said that the way we work, there's a sense of community within the teaching and academic management staff, that there's a positive environment that enables the teaching staff to obtain a very good understanding of each student and provide individualized support. And we do that, and we see that as our duty to do that, and we enjoy doing that. We like working with our students and supporting them. And we have a very rigorous and systematic approach to gathering feedback from the students and, you know, addressing the feedback that we've got. We like to get positive feedback, but if some students said, well, if you do this, students would have a better experience, then we would certainly look at that very seriously and implement it in the following semester. So we continuously improve our courses, and students provide us with really helpful feedback. And so if you come and do our course at UTS, we look forward to your input into how we can make our programs even better. Admissions requirement, well, you need to have completed a UTS recognized bachelor's degree, either in Australia or overseas, in education, management and commerce, society and culture, or creative arts. But if you don't have a bachelor's degree in those areas, you can still apply. Just provide a personal statement of what you've done and why you're interested in studying TESOL and Applied Linguistics, and attach a CV. Okay. As I think I mentioned earlier, we have students from a whole range of different backgrounds. We have students from business background, IT background, chemical engineering, journalism, creative writing, all sorts of backgrounds. So we like diversity. There is an English language requirement for international students, an academic IELTS score of 6.5 overall with a writing score of 6.0, or a TOEFL paper-based score of 550 to 583 overall with TWE of 4.5, internet-based 79 to 93 overall with a writing score of 21. Or AE5 pass, or PTE 58 to 64, or CAE 176 to 184. All of this information is available on our website, and we can repeat this later if you would like. Okay, so the next intake is for our autumn session, the Australian autumn. So that's February. And international students have to apply by early January, domestic students by late January, and domestic students can apply online, and international students will need to find out more from the International Office webpage. Now, very importantly, for those of you interested in the graduate diploma, we have a limited number of what's called Commonwealth supported places. And these are available only for the graduate diploma, not for the grad cert, not for the master. And applicants are strongly encouraged to submit their full application by early January to be considered for a Commonwealth supported place, and enroll as soon as possible upon receiving an offer, or their place may be offered to another applicant. We do give recognition for prior learning, and recognition for prior learning is evaluated on a case-by-case basis, but we do recognize prior learning that's relevant to our program. So please keep the application deadlines in mind, but applications are open already, And, we process applications as they come in. So the earlier you apply, the earlier the offer will be made to you. And the earlier you accept the offer, the earlier we can, process any recognition of prior learning applications and, give you advice about subject choices, timetable, and so forth. So I encourage you to apply early and to accept the offer as soon as you receive it. So we can get you going, if you like. So here is some fee information. I won't read out the numbers, but you can see on the third line the difference that the CSP places make if you're studying the graduate diploma. The fees are a fifth of what you would pay otherwise. And the CSPs are available for Australian citizens and New Zealand special category visa holders and humanitarian visa permanent residents. And if you are a UTS alumni, you can get a 10% discount on non-CSP fee-paying courses. Okay, so any questions, and I will try to answer them. But just before I check the questions and answers, one thing that I wanted to say earlier, and which I forgot, is one of the distinctive features of the UTS course is that we have a good mix of both domestic students and international students. There are other courses, other TESOL courses in Australia, which are made up entirely of international students. And so, it's great to have international students, but we have heard from the international students who come to UTS that they really appreciate the opportunity to mix with the domestic students. And the domestic students also have expressed an appreciation of being able to mix with the international students. So I think there's a benefit in having the mix. Okay, so let me look at the Q&A to see some questions. With the graduate certificate, can you work in any colleges teaching TESOL? Okay, that's a good question. Thank you, Jenny. So yes, the graduate certificate is recognized by English language colleges. You would be able to, well, let me clarify. Okay, if you want to teach EALD students in schools, then the grad cert alone will not be sufficient. You will already need to have a primary or secondary teaching qualification that's recognized by the relevant government. So if you are, let's say, a school teacher in New South Wales, then the graduate certificate will give you an additional specialism that will enable you to teach in schools. Now, if you want to teach in adult education colleges, the graduate certificate will be recognized. However, in some programs, like the programs for domestic students in TAFE colleges and adult education colleges, you may be required to, in addition to the graduate certificate, gain what's called the Certificate for in Training and Assessment. This is a VET qualification. That's the sort of minimum qualification that the government requires to teach in vocational education and training colleges. So programs like the AMEP, the Adult Migrant English Program, and the Skills for Education and Employment, the Job Seeker Program. Now, the other information I can add is that if you do the graduate diploma and with the adult literacy and numeracy strand, we have an agreement from TAFE New South Wales that they will exempt you from the certificate 4 requirement. Okay, so that's an arrangement we've been able to get with TAFE New South Wales. So I hope that answers the question about the graduate diploma, graduate certificate. And there's a question from Victoria. Thank you, Victoria. I completed a graduate diploma of TESOL in 2003. I'm currently working in a primary school teaching EALD students. I've been teaching EALD for a number of years. How many subjects would I need to complete to obtain a master's? Okay. So, okay. We will probably need to look at your transcript. I don't think I can give you a definitive answer now, but I can say you would need to do a minimum of 4 subjects, but I will perhaps communicate with you individually to assess your recognition of prior learning more accurately, rather than give you an answer that you know, I don't think I can give at the moment. Okay, how many hours of face-to-face learning is one subject? Thanks, Holly. Good question. So our delivery mode is sort of in 2 parts. We upload our lectures as a pre-recorded video. And we upload that video lecture each week on the learning management platform, which is Canvas. That's the one we use at UTS. And so you will access the lecture, equivalent to 1 hour of learning online. And then you typically attend a 1.5 hour interactive tutorial. So in terms of, I guess, class time, there's the 1 hour of lecture that you can, view and listen to at any time during the week that's convenient to you. And then a timetabled 1.5 hours of tutorial for each subject. And of course, you'll be doing, readings each week and preparing assignments. So very roughly, we say you need to set aside at least 6 learning hours each week, because you'll need to listen to the lectures, you need to participate in the tutorials, you need to come to the tutorials after you've read the readings and listen to the lectures. So roughly 6 hours a week you need to set aside for learning. But 1.5 hours is the timetable hour. Does UTS have any industry connections to assist with job placement post-study? Yes, we have very strong industry connections with the school system and the adult education system and the ELICOS sector. So as staff, we are up to date in terms of what's happening in the various sectors. And often our industry partners would let us know, we're going to be advertising for adult literacy teachers in the next week, or there's going to be some increased demand for EALD teachers in this region in Sydney, and so forth. So we do take our industry connections very seriously, because that's really important for your future employment prospects. I hope that answers your question. Are there any other questions that I can answer? Okay. If I am currently working in a school, are there tutorial sessions that are offered after 3 or 3:30 that could cater for that? Okay. Our classes, our earliest classes start at 3:30, and our later class starts at 5:30 typically. So we have classes running from 3:30 to 5, and the next class starting from 5:30. So I hope that will work for you. But if you think that's going to be a problem, you can email me, and I might be able to provide a more nuanced answer. Anything else? Who do I contact at UTS re-subject from Masters? You can contact me, and I will put my email address in the chat right now. Let's see. Okay, so I hope you can access my email that I've just put in the chat. And don't hesitate to contact me with any questions or concerns or whatever. What is the maximum time allowed to complete the grad cert, dip, masters? Thank you. Okay. I think you have, well, it depends if you're studying part-time or full-time, and there is a specified maximum time. However, we know that, you know, you're all busy people with multiple commitments, so I am very often approving applications to extend the time of completion. So if you need more than the stated maximum time, it's not difficult to extend that. And the maximum time is generally quite generous to start with. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that at this moment. But I can find out for you more specifically if you want to send me an email about that. Would the grad dip qualify me to work in school? Thank you, Leah, for this question. It will only qualify you to teach in schools if you already have a primary or secondary school teaching qualification. So the grad dip in TESOL and Applied Linguistics with the EALD and Literacy in Schools specialization will qualify you to teach EALD and Literacy in Schools only if you already have a teaching qualification. So the grad dip as a pre-service qualification will only work if you want to work in the adult education sector. Any other questions? If not, maybe we can finish up, but thank you very much for your participation. And as I said, I'm happy to receive emails with individual questions. So please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you very much.